Welcome everybody, and today we're taking a look at the second film from the Universal Horror Monsters and Curiosities box set from Umbrella Entertainment, and it is 1925's The Phantom of the Opera. So this is directed by Rupert Julian, who I've not seen anything else from before, although he does have another connection to one of the other films in this box set, as he did a sound remake of the 1927 version of The Cat and the Canary called The Cat Creeps, and obviously that aforementioned film is in this box set. Unfortunately, though, the Cat Creep seems to have been seemingly completely or mostly lost to time itself, so which is a little bit of a shame because I would have liked to have seen that version of the Cat and the Canary. But nonetheless, this is a horror film. Clocks in at 102 minutes long. Had a budget that is very specific of $632,357, but at the box office it returned 2 million. So not quite as successful as The Hunchback of Notre Dame, but still made a decent sized profit. And then when they released the 1929 sound version in obviously sound, during the time when talkies were becoming a big thing, it made an additional $1 million. So yeah, not sure how much the budget increased due to re-recording or recording sound for the first time or anything like that. But yeah, that's still a healthy additional amount of money to add onto it. And yeah, like in the previous film in this box set, it stars Lon Chaney and Norman Kerry. But alongside those two, you've also got Arthur Edmund Kewu, who was in the likes of Dr. X and Mystery of the Wax Museum, which is one of the first kind of attempts at doing a colour picture. So, yeah, the deformed phantom who haunts the Paris Opera House causes murder and mayhem in an attempt to make the woman he loves a star. So, as with the case with The Hunchback of Notre Dame, this is a silent film that doesn't have the most engaging plot in its first half. But just like with that other film that started this box set off with, the second half is really rather great. The sets this time, though, are also more lavish than before, particularly when it comes to the opera house itself, which I believe was reused for the 1942-43 version, and because um, and then the were planning a sequel to that film, but that didn't turn out to happen. But they ended up using the sets regardless for another film called The Climax, which is also a part of this box set as well. That Climax starring Boris Karloff. So yeah, those sets were clearly so lavish that they existed for another couple of decades at the very least. Lon Chaney is once again great with plenty of on-screen presence. His makeup is highly effective. I'd say his makeup in this is probably even better than in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Obviously, there has a couple of extra years to perfect his craft, but it is still really really effective. The second half in particular is well paced. The cinematography is good. The supporting cast is effective. There are some interesting use of light in this that I haven't seen used in very many other silent films from this period. And the lair that the titular phantom resides in, with all of its booby traps and torture devices, is not only well conceived, but really put me in mind of the likes of James Bond series, where you typically have a villain with a lavish lair with booby traps and use of torture devices and such. So yeah, on the whole, another really really good effort, and yeah, concludes this first disc in this box set off on another solid note. And gets a 4 out of 5, just like The Hunchback of Notre Dame did. So yeah, both films are part of the Silent Screamers Part 1 of this box set. And there is Lon Chaney as the Phantom of the Opera. His real name is Eric, by the way, if you didn't know that. So yeah, and it is in the aspect ratio 133 to 1, by the way. Of course, it's in black and white. It's got 2.0 DTS HD MA audio, although the audio for these silent films doesn't really matter because at the end of the day, it is just some music that is layered over the film itself. And yeah, the intertitles are in English. And yeah, I don't think this has had any kind of restoration work done to it at all, unfortunately. Yeah, The Hunchback of Notre Dame had its issues, but it still looked like it had been some work done to it, and that was obvious by the fact that at the end of the film or the beginning, it said it was a 4K restoration from Universal, which is the same one that Eureka had done. But this doesn't seem to have had any work done to it at all because there's a great many of imperfections in there. There's some of the black and white colours look quite either faded or blown out. Now, I did look high and low to see if this had had a Blu-ray release in the past. I mistakenly thought Eureka had done it because it seemed like the kind of film that they would do, given they've done The Hunchback of Notre Dame and they've done the three other silent films that are in this box set. But apparently they have not, which I am genuinely surprised about because they have done a great many of silent film releases. You know, Buster Keaton, Laurel and Hardy, and such and such. So yeah, I expected them to have already have done it, but they hadn't. So yeah, the only other Blu-ray release in the UK that I can find has been from BFI from 2013. I'd be interested to see if that looks any better or worse than this, but I imagine it is just the same one. So yeah, it is a film that could do with some restoration work, quite frankly. But even though the low quality of the film print was, you know, somewhat distracting at times, it still didn't take away in general from the quality of the film overall. So yeah, which is a surefire sign that the film itself is still working, even if you know you're dealing with lots of scratch marks and inconsistent color grading and such like that. So yeah, on the whole though, a really good effort, and one that I do highly recommend trying out. And again, it's another sign that horror films, when it comes to the silent format, really do work really rather quite well. So yeah, but still, nonetheless, thank you for watching. If you have seen the Phantom of the Opera before that, to your thoughts on it, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.